Southern Ontario, Canada, November 27th. Join me for a world tour. I'll try to get around the globe as quick as I can. Russia, China, and India now all trading in their own currencies, not using the American dollar as the international coin of exchange, shall we say. Not doing Uncle Sam any good. These three countries, of course, have been stockpiling gold for quite a number of years now, so their exchange of their currencies are backed by gold. Everybody over there quite content with it. Just as an aside note, we'll quickly jump over to where our tour ends in Canada. 4 months after Trudeau first attained power, he sold all of our gold, leaving us as one of only 6 countries in the world out of almost 200 that have no gold. However, back to the other side of the world. The petroleum producing countries, the sand countries, they're trading in the aforementioned countries' dollars, or monies I should say, rupees, rubles, and the yuan. Okay, so let's skip down through Taiwan, Vietnam, South Korea, Japan. Japan in financial rack and ruin, kept afloat, pun intended, by Uncle Sam to keep their navy in the South Pacific as a sort of stopgap measure from the China's aggression in the South Pacific. So while we're in the South Pacific, what's Australia and New Zealand up to? Well, New Zealand's banning cow farts, and if I have my facts straight, their Prime Minister is a graduate of the Young Global Leaders program. But whether that part's correct or not, so simply banning of the cow farts dictates Uncle Daddy Klaus, is actually running that joint. Australia, hard to say. Very tumultuous over the last couple of years. Their overreaction to the panda scammer dictates some pretty serious WEF penetration there by Daddy Klaus. But the Australians are a tough bunch. However, we move now to continental Africa. Oh, what a poor story the history of Africa is altogether, but at the moment, it's largely impoverished, it's fractionalized, and most of its mineral resources are owned by corporate communist China. Think barefoot children dressed in rags mining lithium for a climate crisis that isn't. Well, that's some mates, poor Africa. Europe and the UK, a social quagmire, a mess. Daddy Klaus's penetration into the governments there having led to an open-door immigration policy, the largest numbers of which belong to a certain overzealous group, I'll say. I think you know who I mean. South America. Yeah, still lots of resources down there, but as a whole, not a lot in the way of infrastructure. Still vast tracts of jungle with nothing but goat trails. And Venezuela, once the third wealthiest nation in the world, totally destroyed by socialism, which now I gather is turned into a dictatorial communism. Not much of a slope from socialism to communism, is there? Socialism's just communism light. Brazil, I gather the poor people there are fighting for their lives in the streets to stave off, what's going on in Venezuela. And Argentina we come to, openly stated to be Daddy Klaus's possession totally, right? Not much surprise there. The history goes back with Germany and Argentina to the 30s. You know what I mean? We'll skip briefly over America. Financial troubles exacerbated by the loss of the American greenback, formerly referred to as the petrodollar, not being used on the world as exclusively as the world's monetary exchange. Again, supporting Japan and pouring the money into censorship dictates. I can't say anything about who Russia's having an issue with, their next door neighbor there. You know what I mean. Whatever's going on there. Daddy Klaus's penetration into the U.S., inarguable, but very difficult to begin to imagine how far the penetration. I mean, the American government is such a huge, multi-layered, multi-departmental structure that while penetration at every level is a given, to what level in all of these different, even down to the state levels, very difficult to say. But not looking good for Uncle Sam, our friend, neighbor, ally, and trading partner on the financial front, that's for sure. And I don't know about Sleepy Joe Brandon there. I don't think he's the right man for the job, but I don't pay taxes or vote in America, so I shouldn't even comment on that, I suppose. Excuse me. So now we come to my home and native land, Canada. Great infrastructure, wealth of resources, absolute and openly stated, controlled by Daddy Klaus again. I mean, he brags about it openly in Davos, Switzerland, and look what just happened with the G20 summit. You know, I won't beleaguer the details. I'll just say Bill C-11 and Bill C-21 sum up exactly what is transpiring in Canada. And should you be debating about who you should vote for in 2025, like, say, Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party, or Uncle Carl and the Common Sense Party, don't rack your brain. The regime has no intention of having an election in 2025 or any time before or during or after 2025. It's not in the program.